Yeah, pause YouTube, 6fthax here. Have for you guys today a Wi-Fi battle in the NU tier against MaxRapture. I'm pretty sure he does upload because he said that he was gonna live record his side of this battle. So if you guys want to go check out that video or his channel, if I can find it, I'll leave a link to it down below. If not, then man, whenever you see this, please comment and I'll make sure to add your channel link to the description. So of course, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to hammer that like button down below. Now looking at the team, this is a pretty cool team I got off of the forums, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I did get this. I either got this off the forums or I got it from Harris's Discord. So I'll leave a paste bin down below and I'll leave the smoke gun link if I got it off the forums. But either way, going into this matchup, he didn't really have a good answer to my Clawwitzer. Dojo could be a little bit annoying depending on the set that it's running. Also, Trick Room, a Alolan Executor could be a bit of a nuisance if my team gets too weakened and it gets to late game and it sets up a Trick Room. That could be really bad. So he ends up leading off with him on top, as I'm going to be leading off with my Clawwitzer in hopes that he would lead off with the Steelix, but because he led off with the him on top, and because I have seen Fighting MZ him on top before, and because he could also be assault vested, I don't want to stay in here and take any unnecessary damage on my Clawwitzer. So what I'm going to do is pull a switch on out here into my Whimsicott, as he actually just goes straight for the all-out pummeling, which I honestly was not expecting. I thought that maybe he was going to go for like a fake out or something along those lines. Obviously, if I did anticipate this, I could have made the switch into Golbat, but thankfully, even though this Whimsicott is not a bulky spread, I am going to be able to chew the hit, and then this turn, I'm very positive that he's not going to want to stay in, just because Moonblast does a good amount of damage to him on top, and at this point, I know he's not assault vested, so what I'm going to do is actually go for the U-turn here, expecting him to want to go ahead and switch on out of here, and this is really good for me because I just get back into my Clawwitzer and I can go straight for the Dark Pulse. Very positive that he's not going to risk switching in to the Slowbro, and he's not going to switch into the him on top because I could easily just go for the Water Pulse. Dark Pulse also does have a 20% chance to flinch, but I don't really care if I do get the flinch or not. I just want to be able to get off a huge hit on something, or potentially 2 KO the Slowbro on the switch in if it doesn't have a Colbur Berry. So he just ends up getting up his rocks here, which is perfectly fine by me. I do have Defog on the Golbat, which is going to be really nice because I will be able to get rid of these later in the match, and I really lose nothing in just going for another Dark Pulse, honestly. Like, even if he switches into him on top or this Incineroar, they're still going to be taking a good amount of damage. As you can see there, I do a solid like 35% to the Incineroar, and even if he's Adamant Choice banded, I can definitely live one hit from this and weaken it a little bit more, but he gets a crit. Now this match gets a lot better. So yeah, he ends up critting me there. That actually really sucks because I would have put him at about, is it like 30-ish%, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 35, what, that's 70? Yeah, like 30%, I'm pretty sure. So that could have been really nice. Unfortunately, though, I lose my Clawwitzer, and that's really bad because Clawwitzer was one of the main wall breakers I had in this matchup. So I'm going to switch into my Scrafty here. I'm just going to go straight for the high jump kick, just gauging to see how much damage I can do to the incoming Hitmontop. As I do a solid third to it, on the next switch in, I should be able to a KO with 2 more high jump kicks, so that's going to be really good. And what I can do here is switch into my Golbat pretty safely, not worried about what he wants to do, as he makes a nice double switch here into the Slowbro. I did kind of expect this, but either way, I do want to go ahead and get rid of the Stealth Rocks on my side of the field so I can relieve some of the pressure from my Pokemon, as he's just going to end up going straight for the Calm Mind on my Defog. Now, Calm Minding isn't that scary, honestly, because I do have Whimsicott on the back, and I do still have Scrafty, which as long as he doesn't burn me with the Scald, Scrafty should, in theory, be able to deal with this Slowbro 1v1. So what I'm going to do is just switch directly into my Scrafty here, expecting him to either go for another Calm Mind or just go for the Psyshock, as I will be able to go ahead and pop a potential Colbur Berry, just because this way next turn I can maybe Dragon Dance or just try to pressure him with the knockoff, as he goes for his first Scald here and he gets a burn. Oh, it gets better. And yeah, that actually really sucks because, like I said, Scrafty and Whimsicott were my main answers to the Slowbro, and now my Scrafty's burned. I don't have the Shed Skin, and my Whimsicott's a little bit weak in here, so I'm going to switch directly into my Whimsicott here, expecting him to just go for the Slack Off, because with me being burned, I can literally do nothing to the Slowbro. So by switching directly into my Whimsicott, I was kind of hoping that he would be fearing me going for the Encore here, but he actually just stays in, and I am able to do a pretty solid of 40% to the slow burn, which is really nice because I'm going to be out of range of where a +1 side shock will now knock me out, and in the following turn I can get off another huge hit with the Giga Drain, or if he switches out then I'll have to deal with the slow burn later on. But I am able to get off a pretty solid amount of damage on the slow burn here. I think I actually got a higher damage roll on that second Giga Drain than I did on the first Giga Drain, so even if I had got a higher damage roll on that first Giga Drain, I don't think the second high damage roll would have knocked him out anyway. So either way, he's in range of where I can definitely revenge kill him, so I'm going to switch directly into my Delphox here. He doesn't essentially have a safe switch into this Delphox, so I was pretty confident that he was going to try and stay in here. Maybe thinking that he could live, or just not wanting to risk me predicting a potential switch out. So I do just go straight for the grass knot, able to get rid of the Slowbro, and that is really good because now that is one less problem I have to deal with. As in comes the Incineroar, I don't really have anything to switch into whatever move this thing wants to go for. So at this point, I'm just going to sack off Scrafty because it's literally useless due to the fact that it's not well trained and it got burned on the first Scald. So I am able to live the U-turn, which is nice, I guess, but I mean, either way I would have got switch initiative on whatever he brought in. So if I would have been able to live this burn recoil, I might have been able to get off a decent amount of damage on the Steelix, or at least get rid of his leftovers. But I guess in that case he might have been able to go straight for the Stealth Rock, so I guess maybe me going down to the burn here was actually really good for me. As I get a free switch into my Delphox here, I'm just gonna go straight for the Fire Blast because much like earlier, he's got no safe switch-ins to this. I will definitely 2-KO the Incineroar on the switch-in because I know he's not assault vested, because there was no way he would have been able to knock out my Clawitzer with the crit unless if he was assault vested. I don't think a crit would have knocked out Clawitzer is what I'm saying, if I remember the calc correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead, switch on out of here into my Golbat because it's really the only thing that I have that can potentially live a hit from this and maybe try and knock it out with the Brave Bird. And this is where me getting crit on my Clawitzer really does matter, because he would have been in range of where Brave Bird from my Golbat would have been able to knock him out, and I would have been able to live the recoil damage potentially to be able to go for a roost on his Hitmontop, or even the Alolan Executor if there was not a move that he would have been able to knock me out with. So I'm just going to roost up here a couple times, maybe trying to get him in the mindset of thinking that I'm going to try and stall out his Darkest Lariat so he could potentially try and switch out. But honestly, eventually I'm going to get crit knowing my luck and judging for how this battle has been going. So I do decide just to go for the Brave Bird here, and he does live on the amount of damage that Dark Pulse would have done to him. So he is going to be able to finish me off here with a second Darkest Lariat. This isn't too bad though, because I do get a free switch into my Delphox now, which Delphox can definitely knock him out at around 30% HP, and he still does not have a good switch into this. So I will be able to knock him out here so long as I don't miss. Now I may be down 2-4, but I could still potentially pull out the victory here depending on how things go and if he's got Scarf Dodrio or not. So down goes the Incineroar, in comes the Dodrio, and even if this Dodrio is Scarfed, there's no way he one-shots me unless he crits me, so he does unfortunately turn out to be Scarfed. I did think about switching into my Steelix here, but I really didn't want to risk him going for the high jump kick, but I will be able to knock him out with the Fire Blast, you know, if I hit. And yeah, that's not really that good. So I'm gonna try to switch into my Steelix here, expecting him just to go for the Brave Bird again. Like, he really has no reason to not just Brave Bird again to potentially knock me out. And at this point, if his Hitmontop doesn't have the Sucker Punch, I can definitely still win with the combination of Steelix and Delphox potentially if I'm able to get rid of this Dodrio with my Steelix. But I didn't want to pull a double out here, because if he is an offensive Hitmontop, typically offensive Hitmontop do tend to carry Sucker Punch. So my only real hope here was to go for the Earthquake and get off as much damage as I possibly could on the Hitmontop to put it in range of where I could 2-KO him. And I will definitely be able to live one close combat, which is really nice. So he's gonna end up going for the CC here. If he had saved the all-out pummeling here, he obviously would have been able to knock me out, but then that means my Whimsicott would have been at much higher HP, so that actually might have not been too bad of a scenario now that I think about it. Either way though, after the -1 defense drop, I will definitely be able to knock him out with the Earthquake here. At this point, his last two Pokemon are the Executor and the Dodrio that should be dead, but it's not entirely too bad considering that I can still live one hit from anything unless he is a specially offensive Executor, which he should be, because typically a Alolan Executor either Specs or the Trick Room. So he's going to end up going for the Energy Ball here. I was really hoping that I would be able to live this just to get off some Gyro Ball damage, Unfortunately though, he does end up knocking me out, and at this point my last mon is Scarf Delphox, which does not outspeed Scarf Dodrio, and if he's not running max HP, I actually have about a 56% chance to knock him out with this Blaze boosted Fire Blast. But if he was Trick Room, or if he was just like a slow spec set, then he could have been able to easily live Fire Blast unless I had crit him there. So unfortunately, we are going to take a loss in today's battle. Although it wasn't that big of a loss. I mean, it was definitely a very close 2-0 there. Like, if I hadn't missed the Fire Blast at the end, I definitely would have been able to win if I had got the high damage roll, or if I had got the crit on the Alolan Executor. So either way, unfortunately got really unlucky with hacks, but hey, that is Pokemon. You win some games because of hacks, you lose some games because of hacks. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to hammer that like button down below. And with that being said, guys, I will see you all tomorrow with the team building video for week 6 of Pokemon 4 Glory Season 2. So, later, everybody.
Cause my brain and heart are both tied in the knot, and this hinders me from crying a lot. This causing me to show no emotion. But when I said I cared, I wasn't joking. But I guess it's too late for me to become broken. For now, I'm living with no more pain, tears, or hoping. I'm just coasting. Yeah, I said I'm coasting. No more pain, tears, and hoping. For real.